And what do you think this strange little device might be? Stay tuned. I reveal all. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and this is my weekly vlog for Monday, October the 22nd, 2018. And I hope everybody's had a good week. And so we're going to talk about my week and some other things today. And I hope you've got some coffee, because I do. And it's relatively early today. It's Monday, as I said, and it's 8:19 in the morning. And it's looking kind of like it might actually be a nice day today. It's been cold lately. Not that cold, but you know, not Calgary cold with snow and that kind of thing. But here in southern Ontario, it's been down to the single digits at night, Celsius. I think we had a couple of nights it went down to 0, so that means soon there'll be probably frost freezing out our garden, what's left of it for the season. And it's kind of hard to believe that we're moving into the last part of October now. Halloween is next week. And then we're into November. And November is always a gray kind of month, I find. You know, of course, right after Halloween, everybody's getting geared up for Christmas. And that goes on for a month and a half. Christmas bah humbug. Maybe I'll talk about that someday if I haven't already. But anyways, so let's move on with what I've been up to this week. So I made a Halloween cat. This is called freestanding applique. It's done on my new sewing machine, on my embroidery machine, and it's a lot of fun. We did this in class the other day. I had a few technical problems with it, but for the most part it worked out pretty good. And it's even got on the back a little pocket right here, so you could put in the idea is you could put in a gift card or some candy or something like that. I'm not going to give it to anybody as a gift. I don't know what I'll do with it. It'll probably just hang on my design wall or something in my sewing dungeon. But it's kind of cute and they're fun to make. And you saw the Santa that I made there a week ago. He was a little bit more complicated to make than this, but nevertheless, they're still a lot of fun. So you can see I'm getting a lot of use out of my embroidery machine. What else? Well, speaking of the embroidery machine, I made this little bag. This is an applique. Again, sort of the same thing, except this one's all embroidered. So it's a freestanding applique, all embroidered. And then I fused it to this little Christmas bag. Now, what am I making little Christmas bags for? Well, I did show these on the Idiot Quilter episode, my latest one. I believe it's episode 30, and the link is in the show notes below. And we're going to a Halloween dance. Yes, we do have a costume. And you're not going to see the costume yet, not until, well, we haven't quite finished putting them together, but the Halloween dance is this coming Friday night. Now, I warn you that, well, there's nothing to be really warned about, but as you know, I am gay, and it is a gay dance. It's a man's dance. Should be a lot of fun. But there's a gentleman who puts these together every so often, and he goes out of pocket a lot in expense-wise to put these on. And I thought I'd help him out. He often has like door prizes and things. So I made 4 door prizes. They're all the same thing. And essentially, they are a towel that I embroidered a Christmas design on, and the towel goes into this bag that I just showed you. And I made 4 of those. And here's the towel. Now, these are a little naughty, okay? They are not a Halloween theme, they're a Christmas theme. Reason being is I thought that, you know, kind of with the dance being on Friday and then Halloween on the following Wednesday, it might be more appropriate to give something that's more Christmassy, that you'd get more use out of. So I made these embroidered towels. Are you ready? Little bit naughty. Okay. I found that on one of the embroidery sites, and I added the little holly around it. But yeah. Now, it's not a real expensive towel. These are some of the towels I get at Yisk. I think they cost about $2.50 a piece. It's just a hand towel, but I thought it's a nice little novelty item. And of course, it all comes in this little bag that I made. And the bag you could use to I think my applique is a little loose on that one. I may have to press that one down a bit more. But I mean, the little bag is probably handy for, you know, at Christmas time, you know, you hostess gifts, or, you know, put some candy in it. And you put in a couple of wine bottles in it as well. So anyways, just something I thought I would, you know, do for him, because he does so much for everybody else in the community, and I thought it might be just fun. Besides, I enjoy making them, so what the heck. Okay, what else? Well, yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live, we did an art attack number 2. We hadn't done one of those in several months. And this time we did alcohol inks, and if you want to see what we did, just go to Stephen and Walter Live, and it's linked down below. And we took what we did with alcohol inks and did some experiments, and we made some cards. So here's one card that I made. This is all alcohol inks, the background, the butterflies, the whole bit. This one was done with the new Tim Holtz alcohol lift ink pad, which is really quite cool. And you never waste anything when you make cards, so when I die cut out those butterflies, I saved the negative piece and just mounted it on one of the other cards that didn't quite work out when I was using this process, and it makes a kind of a nice little background. Here's Walter's, as usual, gorgeous. Look at that. And you see this part that's sort of a resist in there, that's done with the alcohol lift inks as well, which are kind of fun to use. This one as well. Again, it's got that damask look and the whole bit. And he tried his hand at die cutting and did this one with the feather. Again, alcohol inks and using the alcohol ink lift pad. Really cool. So if you want to see us working on these, making them, then just go to Stephen and Walter Live. Okay, so that's what we've been up to. Now, the YouTube channel of the week is called Crazy Dave's Crew. This is kind of a mishmash of all kinds of different things on there, but there's one section, as I mentioned in the little video clip you're about to see, about sewing and quilting. But there's a lot of just neat little potpourri of all kinds of different things. So take a look. The YouTube channel of the week is Crazy Dave's Crew. Now that's kind of a different name for a very different kind of YouTube channel. I think this one's been around for a while, and it's got a real mixture of all kinds of different topics. But there is one section called Sewing with Laura that I found very helpful. She basically looks at things from the point of view of a beginner sewer and talks about everything from machine maintenance to basic quilting to cute little gifts and ideas and things that you can make on your sewing machine. What I also like about this YouTube channel is that many of her projects you could, with a little tweaking, use them in mixed media projects or in paper crafting as well. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, a little bit more for the beginner sewer, and for things that will inspire you beyond sewing, then check out Crazy Dave's Crew. So the link for that YouTube channel is listed below in the notes, as are all my usual links for Stephen and Walter Live, my new episode of The Idiot Quilter, which just as an aside here, Walter has been working on his stained glass quilt. It's almost done. Today I'm going to help him layer it for the final phase of quilting it and then binding it. And when he gets it all done, I'm going to feature it along with Walter on a special episode of The Idiot Quilter. And I'm going to interview Walter as a first-time quilter to see how he liked the process and things he'd recommend and things that he didn't like so much. I thought that might be kind of interesting. So watch for that coming up probably in another week or so. Crazy Dave's Crew is listed below, and the book of the week is also listed below, and we'll come to that in a minute. So, what's pissing me off this week? Medical records. Lately, a lot of things about the medical community are pissing me off. Is pissing me off. Get the right grammar here. Of course, that may be because I'm having to deal with them with my mother, being in the hospital and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, my doctor, my family doctor that I've had since I was about 21 years old, he retired in June of this year. and I had to find another doctor, and I lucked out because getting a new doctor is not easy in this country. We have a definite shortage of doctors. Well, it's a shortage of doctors, or I think these doctors are not taking on new clients because they're inundated with all kinds of people. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, I know their jobs are busy and hard, but then again, my job as a teacher was busy and hard too, but I chose to be a teacher and I knew what I was getting into. So I figured the same with doctors and nurses and policemen and lawyers and anybody else that would like to bitch about their workload in their jobs. You chose that profession, so shut up and put up with it, okay? But anyways, that's not what I'm really pissed off with. What I'm pissed off with is getting my medical records. Okay, so like I said, my doctor retired in June. And I got a new doctor, and I was really lucked out because my doctor is Walter's doctor, and she took me on because I'm his spouse, which was very nice of her because she's not taking any new patients. And she's very nice. She's very thorough, as you know. Heart murmur. By the way, update about my heart murmur. I don't think I have one. No one called me after, that was a month ago that I had that special test, and nobody's called me to say I've got a heart murmur. So either I do and I'm not going to find out about it until the next time I see the doctor, or it's nothing. I choose to accept the fact that it's probably nothing. It did have me quite worried. But anyways, I digress. So I got a call the other day, a recorded message from my old doctor's office telling me that all of my medical records had now been sent to some kind of medical storage facility where they keep all these records from retired doctors and whatever, and if I wanted to get copies of them, or I wanted copies to send to my new doctor, to give them a call and I could make the arrangements. Well, my doctor already has copies of my medical records because she contacted my former doctor's office and got those. But I thought it might be kind of interesting to get my own copies of it because after all, I've been going to that other doctor since, as I said, 21, so for 40 years, basically. For about 40 years. So, I didn't see him all that often. Knock wood, I've always had good health and nothing real major, but just out of curiosity. So I call this number and I get this nice lady on the other end, and she's telling me, yep, there's no problem. I need your consent, she says, but I can send it to his email and you just sign it and away we go. She says, however, there is a fee. There's always a catch. And this fee is not covered by our government health insurance, OHIP, our provincial health insurance policy. $99. $99 for them to photocopy, but probably it's already scanned into their system, because I imagine their storage is probably electronic. And all they have to do is send me a PDF of all this stuff to my email. Wow. But no, $99 for this. So obviously this is an organization that is not part of our government. It's not covered by our government insurance. And I said, no, I didn't want it. I wasn't spending $100 for what I already know. I just wanted it out of curiosity. It's not a biggie, okay? But, even if I paid 20 bucks, I might have gone for that. But $100? No, I don't think so. Talk about a money grab. And after all, what's pissing me off is, two things are pissing me off about that. One, it has to do with our medical system. Most things in our medical system, not all, but most, are covered in our taxes. Okay, we pay a lot of taxes in this country and in this province, all right? And a lot of that money goes to our health care. That's why we have universal health care, so to speak. The word universal is kind of misleading about that. Because as I said, not everything is covered by our taxes, but a great deal of it is. And that's great, that's wonderful. I don't mind paying the taxes for that because I know what other countries go through. I know especially what the Americans go through, which is ludicrous. So, I'm very happy to have slightly higher taxes in order to get good health care. But this is something that I consider an essential element. Oh, and she also said to me, she was very nice. She says, I said, well, no, I said, I'm not going to pay that for that. She says, well, if in the future you want them or you want your doctor to have them, give us a call, kind of a deal, And I said to her, well, my doctor already has mine. She says, well, your doctor may not have everything. Usually what doctors get is like a 2-page summary, kind of the highlights of my years of healthcare with my doctor. Well, my doctor was looking at those when I was there last, and she didn't seem to have any problem with those notes, and I think they're pretty much sufficient. Besides, she did a whole workup on me anyways as a physical and whatnot for her own record base. So, and as I said, I don't have any major health problems, barring the possibility of a heart murmur or high blood pressure. But, you know, nothing there too much to worry about. So I'm just thinking, really? So one, I pay all this money and they can't cover that. And they don't cover it because basically it's a private company. And this is the problem with our government, especially this current government in our province, our Trump-like government in this province with this idiot we have as a premier. His party likes to try and privatize everything in our system, which means, you know, it's the big business era, and it's sort of the American model of things. And that's ludicrous. That's crazy. We are a socialistic country in philosophy. Socialism is not a bad word. It's not a dirty word. I said socialism, not communism. There's a difference between the two. Socialism basically means that people put more money in through their tax dollars to pay for social institutions, social welfare, things like that. Now, I know there are many Americans out there, especially those that are in private corporations and that think that's a waste of money and time. And quite frankly, I have heard directly from their mouths, some of them say, why should they pay for other people? Well, that's what we're like in Canada. That's what we do, okay? It's socialism. But we do have pockets in our society who have a more capitalistic attitude, and they believe that everything should be reduced to a business. And our current government in this province is the same way. So basically, part of our healthcare is private. Kind of a two-tiered system in some ways, and it's getting worse all the time. And this is just one example of it, where I have to pay for my records. And that's the other point that I'm pissed off about. They're nobody else's, they're mine. They're about me. They belong to me. Why should I have to pay for something that already belongs to me? What's the big secret anyways with these doctors and their notes? Have you ever noticed that? Any doctor I've been, you never see what they're writing down or what they're typing into their computer. They keep the computer screen away from you. They keep the notes a distance from you. Now, maybe I can ask them and say, hey, can I see what you've got on the screen? Maybe they'd show me. I've never really asked. I don't know. But what's the bloody secret? It's about me. I mean, when I had records on the kids that I taught and parents came on parents' night, or if they called me on the phone, want to know, there was no secret. I didn't charge them a fee. I gave them whatever they wanted to know. I answered all of their questions. Our report cards were fairly extensive, the notes on them. Nothing was a secret. So why does the medical profession have to keep everything a secret? I don't get it. And that pisses me off. Because here's something too about doctors and the medical. I don't work for them, they work for me. It is my tax dollars that's paying their bloody salaries, and they get damn good salaries. I'm sorry. Yes, they went for years and years of school to learn all this stuff, to become experts, and I question the whole point of how much of an expertise they have. But nevertheless, my money pays their wages and their salary. Therefore, I believe I have a stake in that, and I should be getting my money's worth. This elitist attitude of professionals, and this goes to not just doctors, this happens in all of the different professions. Except, now you may disagree with this. It depends on what side of education you're standing on, but teachers don't tend to be elitist about things. You know, we're pretty open, I think, about, you know, information about the kids. Open in the sense that we don't talk about your kid to somebody else, but to you we will, and we're there to serve. And teachers don't get paid enough for what they do. In comparison, they're just as professional as doctors or lawyers, any of those ones. But they don't get the same amount of pay. But this goes back to my original comment at the very beginning of this segment where I said, but you know what you're getting into when you choose that profession. So I'm not going to bitch about the pay, the hours, the workload as a teacher. It was tough, but I knew it was going to be. And I chose that profession. So, you know, there you go. And this just reminded me of something here. A few years ago when I was still teaching, I had this brilliant student in my English class. This kid was, well, if you've ever watched The Big Bang Theory, I used to call him Sheldon because he was exactly like the main character in that show. Sheldon on that show, if you've never seen it, is extremely smart. And but he lacks in social skills. And he's a bit of a knob as a result. Well, this kid, brilliant, but he was a bit of a knob. He had no social skills whatsoever. So one day we were talking in class and I was asking him, it was grade 12, so he's going off to university, and I asked him, what are you going to take in university? He wanted to be a brain surgeon, a neurologist or something like that. And I said, okay, well, I could see you being something like that because you're definitely very, very smart. But what I worried about is his bedside manner, because as I said, he had no social skills whatsoever. Now here's an example of his lack of social skills. About a year after he graduated from high school, he came back to the school and he came to see me. It's always nice when past students come back to see you, but he wanted something. He wanted me to write him a letter of recommendation. This is not unusual. Students do this all the time if they're going into university or something and they need a letter of recommendation. I got asked for so many of those over the years. I actually had a form letter. Okay, don't hate me for that. But I mean, I didn't have enough time. I would personalize a form letter, but you know, the basic stuff is always the same that these universities and colleges want to see in the letter. So I just sort of standardized it, had some blanks, filled it in, and bang, there you go. So he came to me. He was applying to a medical school in Ireland. Okay. Why he was going to Ireland for this, I have no idea. I suspect that the reason he was going to Ireland is for some reason he could get in there quicker because he was all about efficiency with this. But anyways, he basically came in and demanded that I write him a letter of reference. Okay, this is what I mean. He lacked the social skills. It wasn't because he was purposely trying to be rude or anything. He just didn't have any kind of finesse about him. He didn't know what the proper thing was to do, how to approach this subject. And I said to him, so you're going to be a neurosurgeon? And he says, yep. And he says, I'm going to make a lot of money. Okay. I said, why not a general practitioner? And he goes, oh, I don't want to deal with people. No, I want to be in the research side of it, and I want to do all this, and I want to be a specialist. And I thought, you know, kid, you're perfect for that, because every specialist I have ever met in the medical field, none of them have bedside manner. You're just a guinea pig. They don't really want to deal with people. They want to deal with their ongoing research. So I thought, yeah, kid, you're perfect for it. So anyways, how did I get onto the topic of my Sheldon here? I guess just what I'm saying is that the medical profession is becoming two-tiered in our province. We pay a lot of taxes. They're not going anywhere. Our medical system is going down the tubes. Still not as bad as the States, but it's still going down the tubes. And it's just not right. And so, fine example, my records, but I can't have what belongs to me until I pay a ransom fee, because that's basically what it is. Okay? So, anyways, enough about that. So let's move on. I do not have any new products to review this week for you, surprise, because I haven't bought anything that you'd be interested in. I mean, I bought some fabric, but, you know, big deal. You've seen all of that before. So no new products to talk about, but let's move then into the book review. I hate doodling, okay? I'm not a doodler, but there's this big craze a few years ago on Zen doodling, you know, relaxation through scribbling kind of a thing. So I bought a book. I bought a couple of books, actually. to see if they were inspirational. I got this one, Zen Doodling by Carolyn, Scrace, I think is her name. And, you know, what I liked about this book is even though I don't like doodling, it's got some interesting, you know, mandalas, borders. Look at that. That's really pretty. It is inspiring. So, you know, maybe I should try doodling. But what I do like about this book too is, like, look at that. That's really fantastic. Is you could duplicate something like this using scrapbook paper and piecing it together, or even fabric, or rubber stamps. These remind me of some of the ones of the Delusion rubber stamps are always kind of wild like this. So there's some good ideas in here, and it's just a really nice book to look through because the pictures are colorful. Like, look at that. I wish I could do something like that. And it talks about different techniques, like this one's talking about collage. So, and here's one, you know, using actual pictures, and, you know, it's great ideas for backgrounds on scrapbooking pages or mixed media pages, even cards, things like that. So what it's good for is if you're not into doodling, it's still good for inspiration. Okay, now, cost of this. I paid $14.99 for it whenever I bought it, a couple of years ago, I think. So I looked it up on Amazon.ca. It is still $14.99 brand new. This is all in Canadian dollars. But I saw it for as low as, in the used section, 80 cents. Now, I don't know what they're charging for shipping. Could be $100, but I don't know. But it's, as I've said before, it's always good to look at the used prices too, especially with books like this that you might not, you know, they're not really the kind of book you read from cover to cover. You use it as a reference and maybe, you know, bounce around in it for inspiration. So, you know, $14.99 is not a lot for a book, but 80 cents is better. So if you're interested, I've got the link listed below. Okay, inspiration tips. Well, I haven't tried this yet, but the other day, on YouTube, of course, I saw a new technique for using your jelly plates. They were using felt tip markers to draw designs right on the jelly plate and then take a print. Now, I haven't tried it, but it looks really cool. I didn't put a link in the show notes below for this, but all you have to do on YouTube is go to Jelly Arts, that's the name of the company, and look up their latest videos and you'll find this one. But it looked really cool. And the thing about felt tip markers as opposed to paint, less mess as well. And after all, I'm sure, you know, if you're like me, you've got all kinds of felt tip pens that you've bought and you've never really used that much. I mean, how many felt tip pens does one person need? I don't know exact number, but I know I have a lot of them. So, you know, this might be worth giving a try. And if I ever get around to it, I may give it a try myself. Okay, so what's in my drawers? Well, I showed you last week that little thing that I bought called the We Are Memory Keepers Journal Guide, the little plastic device. Well, I've done a little short video clip showing how you might use this particular toy. So, what's in my drawers this week? Well, this is kind of a combination of what's in my drawers and a new product that I have purchased. You know that I love the We Are Memory Keepers punch boards. I have them all, and they're always coming out with new gizmos. Well, some months ago, yes, some months ago, they came out with this device called a journal guide. Now, the reason I haven't talked about this until now is because I just got it. I've had it on order for a couple of months, but typical with We Are Memory Keepers and probably with most of the manufacturers of scrapbooking supplies, they post videos about their new products, but you can't get your hands on them until several months after they've posted that. So I waited patiently and I got this item. Now, I don't need this item. I'm not even sure if after today's demo whether or not I'll ever use it again, but it sounded kind of cool to me. So a lot of people are into doing the personal planners. I do one as well, but I don't get into the whole decorating it and all that kind of thing. So they've come out with this journal guide. And it basically has several different functions. And there's an instruction sheet that tells you what each function does. So what I thought I would do is I have a relatively blank background page here in one of my journals. And I thought I would try some of the things they talk about here. You use it with whatever pens you're using in your journal. I'm just using these. I believe they're Stablio fine points, 3 different colors. Basically, I think it will work with almost any kind of pen. That'll fit into the slots because there's little holes in this. So I'm looking here at the instruction sheet. There's probably a bit of a glare on it. Sorry about that. It says draw circles. So it points over here to a series of little holes that have numbers next to them. So let's take a look at these. See if I can bring it up a little closer. Don't know if that makes it any better. But you can see right along here, there's these little holes. And there are some measurements. One side is centimeters and one side is inches. So there's 1, 2, 3 inches and 3, 5, 8 centimeters. So I'm assuming that means the size of the circle that you can draw. So let's grab my journal and let's give it a try. So I just grab a pen here. I'm going to make sure this pen is writing properly. Get a piece of scrap paper here. Yep, no problem. Okay, so let's draw a large circle to start with. So this seems to spin around. So I'll just hold this down on the journal page, put my pen in the top hole, which is supposed to be 3 inches or 8 centimeters, and away we go. Go around a few times. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It did do a circle. I'm not moving it off of here though, because I'm going to take a different color. Try to keep an alignment, and I'm going to go down to the one that says 2 inches or 5 centimeters and do the same thing. And take another color and go into the bottom hole. Yeah, well, if you need to draw circles up to 3 inches in, let's see, is that diameter or circumference? Diameter, 3 inches in diameter, I think this works very well. So you can see here on my journal page, this worked pretty nice. Now, in a personal planner, I'm not sure what you would do with these kind of circles, but I can see possibilities here in a mixed media journal, in an art journal, because I could use that as an overall pattern on my page, and that's kind of cool. Now, carrying on with the instructions, there's these little grooves cut into it according to this. It says make charts. I guess they mean circular charts, and these little things allow you to put lines in between your circles. So let's try that. So these are all up in here, and see if I can line it up again with the circle that I just drew. Okay, well, I can see there are measurements, lines on here showing you where the lines will go, so that's good. I think I'll just use, for the sake of contrast, I'm just going to use a regular ballpoint pen and line this up. I think I'll line those up along the inner circle. Okay. Okay, they're getting off center right at the moment, so we'll just realign. Now, if I had a wider marker, I could probably make wider lines, because these slots seem to be able to accommodate a fine tip marker. All right, so there you go. Again, as a design element, that might be really nice in a mixed media journal. Okay, let's move on. What else does this do? It's got a couple of these chevrons cut into it. It says create banners. So it's showing the chevrons, and I guess you just trace them around. You can make these 3 different sizes, shapes of banners. So let's try. Okay, have to turn this on the side a little bit. So, okay, Now, if I want to make, I guess I just draw a line. Okay, so if I want to put another one this way, and then I could just use the straight edge and connect these up. Okay, now I notice down here though they have straight lines. Maybe I don't need to use the straight edge. Let's see, what do they call these? It says draw lines. Okay, so you can draw lines with these. So let's try a different kind of chevron here. We'll do one this way. Then let's take one of these lines. Let's go all the way with that one. Okay, I kind of went over the edge of the line on that one. And let's do a chevron the opposite way. Okay, I didn't do a very great one here on this, but I suppose you could just color it in like I'm doing now, and with a little practice, I think you'd get better at it. Okay, so it does that. Then it says, of course, that it draws lines. All right. And it's showing down here, okay, let's just get the instructions back. It says draw lines, and then it's showing make checklists. So it shows the square and the circle. So I guess you can just, like in a personal planner, how they have these little bulleted points. So I'll draw a circle. And then I guess I can take one of these and line it up. I wonder if these match up if I do this. Ooh, it does. It looks like if I take those three and match them up with the three circles, it'll align those up no problem. Okay, well that's kind of helpful. And I could see, you know, you could color in your circles, whatever, bulleted points. So I can see this on the personal planners. And you could probably use them for design elements in art journal as well. In fact, for example, I could put a dot, a bullseye, in the center of my little circle array up here. So if you want to make a little spinner kind of a thing, you'd know where to put your brad, I guess. I'm just trying to think outside of the box, people. It also has squares, if you don't like circles. So there you go. Yeah, nice little check boxes on there as well. And what else does it have? Okay, it says okay, measure. Okay, so you've got these measurements on the end. It's like a 4-inch ruler, 4 inches on this side, and looks like 11 or 12 centimeters on the other. Down here it says draw angles. So there's a 45-degree angle and it's marked, and round corners, and this shows this is a 1/4 inch corner. So yeah, if you were drawing something, I suppose you needed a 45-degree angle, or you need a round corner, you can do that as well. Now here's something that's curious though. It says create pockets. To make photo pocket, fold paper over side of tool and tape. Fold bottom of paper up and tape. And they sort of show you how to do this down here. It's a little picture. Oh, and you can even round the corners on it, so you can make a little like coin envelope. Okay, let's give that a try. I need a piece of paper for this. Now, it didn't say what size paper. you're wrapping it around. So how far across is that? Well, let's get another ruler to measure a ruler, shall we? It's about 2¼ inches, and I've got about 4 inches in height. Okay, so I need a piece of paper. But it's, okay, it's 2½, so it needs to be, it's going to wrap it right around. 2¼ so it's 4½ inches. Let's say 5 inches to give me some overlap. So I'm just going to take my little cutting, my little guillotine here, make it 5 inches by, let's go 5 by 5, because there's going to be a little bit of an overlap. Let's move this out of our way, and according to this, I need some tape. Okay, I've got some tape. So you lay this, we'll come in shot, just move this over. So you lay this on here. I'm just going to line it up with that line there. I don't think it matters, but fold that one over. Ooh, I could have used a 6-inch piece actually. Probably 6 by 4 would have been better. Of course, mind you, you can make it as big as you want because you don't have to go right to the edge. Okay, you need a piece of tape, and I'm not doing this very well, one-handed. Okay, I've got a piece of tape on it. Then it shows that this part can be folded up, but then it's showing that you can round off the corners. So I'm assuming you would take this, flip it this way, okay, so if I do that, I'm not going to get much of a corner. If I pull it down, kind of do it halfway this way, flip it over this way. Shoot, I didn't line that up very well. Well, I'm not really sold on that. Good idea in theory, but really, I could just freehand it too. Take another piece of tape, put it over there. Well, okay, there I go. I've got a little envelope. Well, on a journal page, if I wanted to stick in a tag or something in it, you know, I could do that. So, you know, I suppose in a pinch, it helps you to do that kind of thing, so that's not so bad. And that seems to be all this little device does. So anyways, now let's talk price point. This cost me $21.98. Is it worth $21.98? Maybe if you're going to use it all the time. As I said, it was designed for personal planners, and personal planner people might enjoy having this. I am not a personal planner person, so no value for me there. However, the one thing I do like is the ability to make circles. I do like that. And I kind of like this idea that you can make little checkboxes and things. I could see using those in an art journal. I suppose it's handy because you've got a little bit of a ruler here, so for quickie, making the little pocket, you can take it or leave it. I could pretty much do that freehand without this. It allows you to draw short little lines. It does say in here something about continuous lines. Make a continuous line by aligning the bottom of the line stencil to the bottom of the square or circle. Okay. I'm not really sure what that means, but I guess you could just line it up like I've done here. And I want to make it a little longer, so it says to line it up with the bottom. Then I guess I could go over, and with a little practice, yeah, you could. So, okay, so really, I think it would be much better if the price point was half the price. I really do. Now, mind you, I'm talking Canadian dollars. It's an American product. I had to get it through my local scrapbooking store, so, you know, there's markup and all that kind of stuff. So in the States, you might get it for a little less. I don't really think I would have run out and bought it if I saw it in a store, but I have it now. So what can I say? It's up to you to decide. I've shown you what it can do, and maybe you can come up with other uses for it as well. It's one of those little gizmos, like I said, probably going to sit in a drawer and never see the light of day again. I don't know. Maybe I'll keep it next to my agenda that I do keep. Maybe I'll find some uses for it there as well. So there you have it. That's what's in my drawers this week. So as I've mentioned, it's there. It's got some potential. I have a feeling it's just going to end up in my drawer and I will forget all about it, you know, until someday I start cleaning out the drawer and find it again. Okay, what's that take us to? The events in the past week. Well, I already talked about my embroidery class where I made this little guy, but I have to tell you about that embroidery class. The instructor of it is the owner of the sewing store that I go to, as you know, and she's really good and she's a very organized person, or seems to be anyways. Must have been an off day for her. She spent the first hour basically trying to sort out dates for our next classes. There was a change in the schedule for her in the store. She has a special person coming in, and I guess that person changed the dates on her, and so she had to change our dates. But then, you know, you're trying to coordinate dates with a bunch of people and it's never going to work out perfect. But she was getting a little frustrated with that because she said, well, we could do it on this particular date, then there'd be 2 people who can't come on that date. Then we could do it on this date, but then there was another one here that couldn't come on that date. And she's trying to accommodate everybody. I mean, because after all, we paid for the class, so yeah. But and then she was supposed to have kits made up that had all the parts for this that we needed, and they weren't made up. And so she had to have some of her staff there just do a quickie cut on the material. And so by the time we got it all sorted out and the whole bit, an hour had gone already in the class. And part of the reason it took her a while to sort it out is because other people in the class just keep yapping over top of her. I hate that. I hate that from the standpoint of view of being a teacher. You know, when I taught a class and I'm talking to a class, I did not carry on until I had all of their attention. Just go, my eyes are up here, your mouths are shut. Because you know what's going to happen. There's going to be 2 of them having a little conversation in the back, haven't paid attention to. You've gone through all of this stuff. And then they say, what are we supposed to do? And that's exactly like this group. Okay. So anyways, that was a little frustrating. And I think she was getting a little frustrated or a little overwhelmed in her store because she did mention the fact that there's been 2 other stores in our area that have gone out of business. She's now it in our area. And of course, all the people that were going to those other stores are coming to her store, which is great for her. But it means that she is as busy as heck in there and trying to keep up with it. So, and it's a lot to do. She has a really great staff that works with her. They're excellent, but it's still, you know, a lot of things going on at once. And I could hear the frustration in her voice as well. So she was a little off her game. Then when we were working on this project, I did run into a couple of problems. I was able to solve the problems with a minimal help from Shirley with it. Luckily, I had done the Santa one before the class, so I had a feel for what I was supposed to do with this. And we did have written instructions as well, just follow the instructions. But I made a couple of stupid moves, but I was able to correct them, so no problem. But I just really felt that day that things were off for some reason. But I guess those kind of things happen. So anyways, now we don't have a class for the next 2 weeks because of this change in schedule. So now we're doubling up because I'm doing part 1 right now, and then right after it was part 2. So part 2 starts on the same day as the last class in part 1. So what she's done is she's put that last class in the morning section. In the afternoon section, we will start the second part. Those of us that are taking both parts. So I'm going to be at the store all day on that particular Saturday, embroidering all day. And you know, I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. That's fun. Okay. Walter's quilt, I already mentioned. It's coming along really nice. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous as a wall hanging. Now I'm trying to talk him into where are we going to put it in the house, because I think it should go in a very prominent spot. But I don't know where yet. But I definitely don't want him throwing it in the back of a closet somewhere. He's spent a long time on this, and it's worth hanging up and letting other people see it. Makes me a little jealous. This is his first effort. It's applique. I haven't done any applique yet. And away he goes, first quilt, bingo. Yeah, that always happens with him. Okay, but it is really nice. And as I said, I'm going to do a special little episode on the Idiot Quilter, showing it in more detail and discussing the process with Walter. Okay, update on Mom. Well, she's fine. She's in the hospital. Yeah, same as always. Nothing new there. She had a lot of visitors. I talked to her yesterday on the phone, and I'm going later today over to see her. She wanted me to write down birth dates for all the grandkids and everything like that. So I did. This morning I made her up a little laminated card that has all that information on it for her. And then she said she had a blanket. She was getting a little cold in there. And she wanted this particular blanket. It's kind of a furry little thing that my brother and sister-in-law had given her a few years ago, and wanted to know, you know, could I bring that in? Now I'm thinking in my mind, did I keep it? I got rid of a lot of stuff to charity organizations. Now her quilts and things that she had that were actually made by my grandmother, I kept all those and boxed them up. But for the life of me, I could not remember whether or not I had boxed up this particular blanket, because one, I didn't realize that my brother had given it to her, and two, I just figured, you know, don't really need it. Now I thought I had boxed it up. I was hoping, but I wasn't going to say anything right there because I didn't want to upset my mother. So this morning I went looking, and lo and behold, I had not given it away. I found it great, so I'm taking it over to her today. The only thing I'm a little concerned about, and I said this to my mother, is things in the hospital can go missing, Mom. And, you know, that's why I haven't taken a quilt over to her or anything like that. I mean, they have lots of blankets there. You know, she's not going to freeze to death or anything like that. But also, I suppose, it's a little touch of home for her, something familiar. You know, psychologically, it's probably very comforting. So I decided, yeah, I'll bag it up. I'll take it over today and for her. And you know, okay, worst case scenario, it goes missing. It's not going to be the end of the world. I'll get her a new one, you know, kind of thing. I intend when she gets into the nursing home to make her some nicer quilts and to do up her room or whatever to make it all a little homey and things like that. But I'm holding off until we know where she's going to end up. And that may be, as you know, several more months. But she's doing fine. What else? Well, what's coming up this week? Today is election day here in our province. It's municipal elections. So, you know, the mayor, the councillors, school board, that kind of stuff. And quite honestly, I really haven't got a clue who to vote for. And we have several different positions we have to vote for. So Walter went online, did a research about it, and we've narrowed down the list. So, and basically, it's sad to say, but it's which asshole do you want in power? Because they're all idiots. Some of them are hilarious. They put up like YouTube videos or did a little video segment, and you know, I would be ashamed to put something like that up on the air for people to see. They're inarticulate, they look like crap, and some of their policies or what they want to change are just crazy. Like there's one that lives on our street here. We've never laid eyes on her. She's never done any door-to-door canvassing, at least not here in our subdivision. You know, you think you'd start there. She lives here. She's a student at the local university still, or college. I'm not sure which, because it's a combined university college. Her big platform she's running on is She wants our area to have more roundabouts, traffic roundabouts. You know, this circle, you drive into it and find a hole to get out of without getting killed, big merry-go-round thing. She thinks we need more of those in our city. Okay, we probably do, but really, that's your platform for running for a councillor. More roundabouts. I think somebody needs to finish her education and get a few more years of experience with life before she runs for a government position. So anyways, we've got it narrowed down. Walter wrote me a little list, so I know who these people are, and we'll go probably after we come home from visiting my mom. We'll stop in at the polling station and vote. And you know, really, it's very tempting not to vote because you don't know who to vote for, and you know, it's municipal politics, and at least around here, it doesn't really matter who's in power. It's not going to change the price of rice in China. But, and I've said this before, if you don't vote, you have no right to criticize. Okay? So I'm going to vote. So I have the right to criticize. Okay, what else? I mentioned the Halloween dance coming up. That should be a hoot and a half, and I'll have some pictures after the fact to show you of what our costumes look like, and they're quite freaky, as you can probably imagine. We haven't dressed up in many years for anything in Halloween. We used to. We sort of got out of that, so this is kind of exciting because we haven't done this in a long time. And I have to say, Walter can come up with some of the best ideas for this. And he went online a month or so ago and he got some of our parts for our outfits. And well, let's just say it involves really wild headgear and light up running shoes. That's all I'm going to say for now. You'll see the pictures. I'll do a little video too, probably, of it and put it into my vlog notes probably next week, or I might actually have it, well, we might do maybe we'll do Stephen and Walter live next Sunday in costume. We'll see. We'll see. Making no promises. And we've been talking about getting away just for a few days. Not too far away, but we're both antsy. This whole thing with Mom in the hospital and the whole bit, not knowing when she's going to be put into a nursing home, it's starting to get to us. We feel kind of caged in. Usually in September, October, we go away somewhere. Last year we went to London. And we like to travel and get away. So we might just go to Ottawa. Ottawa is only 4 hours away from us. And for those of you who don't know, Ottawa is the capital of Canada. So there's lots of things there to do, lots of museums and things like that. They have a great market area that sells all kinds of interesting items, but also all kinds of different restaurants and things like that. And it's just a nice area to go to. So we might do that. Walter's looking into it to see about accommodation, that kind of thing. We'd only go for maybe 2-3 days, and we might go kind of in the middle of a week because, well, our weekends are pretty much full between our sewing classes and my mother and everything else. So we'll see. We haven't done anything much more about it, but if we do, I'll probably do a video as well of our little getaway excursion. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so I think that's it for me. So I hope you have a great week coming up. Stephen and Walter live as usual, Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And have a good one. We'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.